All right. Good evening, and we are back. And I got my special host, my guest with me, Felicia Jackson. Tonight's topic is we're talking about homelessness. I am your host, your moderator, Felicia Franklin. My special guest on this evening is Felicia Jackson, the housing guru. So going back and piggybacking a little bit on what we were talking about from the beginning, we were talking about homelessness. And not just from the state of the individuals that you see on the corners, up under the bridges, downtown, in abandoned areas, in the different motels, veterans, not just those individuals. We're not limiting and we're not excluding them, but we're not just talking about those individuals. Because oftentimes there are services to help homeless individuals, that veterans, different people of that sort. But tonight we want to come to you from a place of homelessness being a poverty mindset, homeless cycles, homelessness from the standpoint of you look like you okay on the outside, but you're not okay inside your home. You may be on the verge of an eviction or know someone that's on the verge of an eviction. You may have more bills than you have money that is threatening your housing situation. We're going to talk about it because it's real. It's real life, and that's what this segment is. So without further ado, I want to talk a little bit about my special guest. Her name is Felicia Watkins Jackson. She has developed an expertise in the HUD continuum of care process, community development, block grant, disaster recovery, FEMA, disaster care case management, affordable housing and community development, as well as she has a very strong track record of developing successful collaborations among government, housing developers, private sector, the nonprofit sector, and community partners. Believe me, and she is all of that. She really is. I'm not gassing her up. She really is the guru, y'all. Her professional experience comes Alabama Balance of State Continuum of Care, the HUD AL 507. She was the director. Actually, she is the director from 2008 up until now. She is that woman. So I want to introduce to some and say hey from others. Please give some likes and some thumbs up for my Sarah, my sister. She is also my partner in help. We are the ones behind the grocery giveaway. We're still doing that, by the way. We are still going strong with the grocery giveaway. So if you happen to know someone or a family or individual that is in need, so if you see the flyers and the different posts, that is the other Felicia that's involved in that. So I want to jump right in, and I did a lot of talking in the beginning, and I finally got my guest in. So I want you to take a lead and jump in, and we'll talk about it. And please, if you have any questions, if you have any comments, drop them in the comments. We'll be going back and forth. This is a conversation. So I don't want it to just be me talking or her talking, but if you have questions and you want to know something, you have somebody in need, yes, ma'am, we are breaking the internet, baby. Literally, we breaking the internet. Wow. But Felicia, go on in, join in. Tell about yourself.
Felicia, look, let me take an opportunity first to thank you for having me as your special guest on UnMuted. I have been fortunate enough to watch a few of your first few episodes, and I have to tell you that I am really proud of what you are birthing. You are bringing forth some real issues that real people are dealing with, and one of those we're going to be discussing tonight, which is homelessness. You know, this is something that I care a great deal about. It's my life work. And so I'm just really pleased and thankful that you're giving me the opportunity and the platform to really talk about something that is really a pandemic and an epidemic right in our own backyards. And I want to be able to share with your audience what we're doing as a state, what I am happy to say that we're doing as an organization, and just to give them some tips and resources on how we can truly work as a community to end homelessness, again, not just in our state, but really just worldwide. So thank you for having the Housing Google on tonight. So,
you're welcome.
so just a little bit about myself. Felicia shared with most of you that I am the executive director of the Alabama Rural Coalition for the Homeless. We are an agency that covers 42 counties here in the state of Alabama. They are all rural communities. We provide services, resources, referrals to other agencies across the state. So we serve as kind of like an umbrella for homeless services in the 42 counties in the state. I will tell you, I've worked some other places, I've done some consulting, I've done it all, but this work that I've done with the Homeless Coalition has been really fulfilling, and it's given me an opportunity to really help some people become stabilized in their life and to find safe and affordable housing. So I'm here to, again, just to share some of those resources with you. Felicia said, ask questions if you can. We're trying to watch our phones and do a whole lot of things. I see my best friend Torrin is on the line with Ignite Alabama. So let me put a plug out real quick if I can. We want you to make sure that you're liking Felicia's page. It's real life coaching and consults, but please go and check out Ignite Alabama. They're doing a lot across the state. So thank you for that. And Felicia, I'll go ahead if you want to ask some questions, or if you want me to keep talking, just let me know.
Go ahead and keep talking.
Okay, I can do that very well. So look, I want to give you all some information on what the numbers are in the state. And these numbers are from 2019. These are the most recent numbers that we have in the state of Alabama right now. These are public numbers that you can find on the Housing and Urban Development website. And so as of 2019, and you'll see me kind of looking down because I got several pages of notes here. But as of 2019, there were 3,261 people in the state of Alabama experiencing homelessness. And this count was done only during the last 10 days of January. Okay, and this is a count that's mandatory by HUD, that communities go out and count people that are literally homeless in the state. And so we do this count. It's called a point in time count. And again, during January 2019, the numbers were 3,261 people. Of that, there were 236 family households that were homeless. 292 were veterans. 320 were unaccompanied young adults. So that's like between the ages of 18 and 24, according to HUD standards. And then we had 369 individuals that were experiencing what we call chronic homelessness. That means it's repeated several times, maybe 4 or 5 times within a year. And so one of the things that HUD requires us to do is to go out and make sure that we're counting those number of homeless people. And I see Kendrick just said on here, wow, you're absolutely right. That is a large number. So this tells us that there really is an issue in our state. There is an issue in our nation regarding homelessness. And what we used to think of homelessness, the thought is that, this is somebody that's just under a park bench or under a bridge or on a park bench, excuse me. But that's not really what we're seeing now. And so I want to be able to give you all some information to kind of remove those myths. Felicia, we've had some conversations about that. Remove those myths because people. Go ahead. Were you saying something, Felicia?
Right. Right. We definitely want to do that. So before the segment cut off on the previous one of the things that I mentioned was I gave a little bit of my story. being 17 years old, out on my own. I didn't really have, it's not really about it. I didn't have the resources. I didn't know what to do. My first place that I had, it was like a little shotgun house, and I didn't even have gas. I was barely making it. And I didn't have anyone to tell me about the different resources that were out there, or there was help, even though there was out there, but just not having anyone to say, hey, we have this program, or, you don't have to go through this alone, or there is this, or there is that, you don't have to live without. I mean, and when people look at you, they don't realize, they don't know, because because you don't show it on the outside doesn't mean that you're really not going through. So I can really appreciate the fact that there are all of these resources out there. There are all of these programs that are out there for different individuals. So I am all for that.
And there are, and a lot of people don't know about it. So I'm going to plug a few of those programs because, as I always say, you never know. Our goal is to share the information that we have in hopes that it can assist someone or someone that knows someone. So a few things that I want to do first. If you're on the line, I'm going to encourage you to go and check out our Facebook page, which is ARCH, which is the Alabama Rural Coalition for the Homeless. You can go there if you're in any of the counties that our organization cover. We can certainly try to assist you if you need assistance. And Felicia just mentioned some of the programs. So I want to talk about that. The state has several programs that are funded through HUD and then through ADECA here in Alabama, which is the Alabama Department of Economic and Community Affairs. And one such program is the Emergency Solutions Grant. That program has been set up to assist people that are in rental arrears and that may have an eviction notice or a notice that they must leave their residence. If they're residing with someone, let's say they have a 14 notice that they can no longer stay there, or again, they have a formal court order that they need to evict the property. One of our goals is to try to use the funding through that ESG program to assist those families to stay in that housing. So we connect with the landlords. We can pay some of the programs. I'll talk specifically about what my agency does, but we can pay 6 months rental arrears, and then we can assist those families with 3 months advance rent just to help them get stabilized in housing. So that's one of the programs that we.
Okay, so let's put a pause, put a pin right there. Okay, so now what I grabbed from that was, there are programs that actually assist individuals that are not yet evicted, but facing an eviction.
That is correct.
And possibly keep them from getting evicted.
That is correct.
I wanted to make sure I grabbed that and I put that out there just in case someone needed to get that bit of information, because again, people are going through and others around them may not know that they're going through. So I want to also say this, that it does not have to be an older person. It can be a young adult. Correct?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, if you have the qualifying information, and let's say in the instance of being in a position where you're facing eviction, if you have a eviction notice and a lease that is in your name, and that notice from either the court or the landlord stating that you have to, leave the property, then you're pretty much eligible for the program. You would have to meet some income qualifications, but I consider that the easy part. So then you are eligible for the assistance. And that's what we want. That's one of the things we want people to know, is that programs are available. There's a mortgage assistance program that's available now. I don't know if they've closed it out. It was open a few weeks ago. Hardest Hit Alabama. And so if you're behind on your mortgage, that's certainly a resource you can tap into. You can go to their website, Hardest Hit Alabama, and complete an application online to see if you're eligible for that. Again, just providing resources, because our goal is to prevent people from literally being on the street.
Okay. 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 Well, thank you. Thank you. And I wanted to make sure I pulled that out because you just never know what someone is facing, especially in this particular time. And right now, with the pandemic going on, COVID-19, um, there's help right now that people are getting that they wouldn't normally not know about. I'm not going to say that the help wasn't there or the resources weren't there. It was just not broadcast as much, will I say, before now because of the pandemic or whatnot. But I wonder, and let's talk about this. There are people that are maybe in a okay place right now, or even the pandemic is actually helping some people out. Because you might have had some people that I've actually heard that because of the pandemic, some people they're catching up on some things, or they don't have the pressure and the stressors from month to month or whatever bills or whatnot, because certain things have slowed down, or so many other resources are out there and are available now. But tell me, what position is that going to put the housing market and different things in after the pandemic has kind of eased aside? Now, I mean, we don't know how long. There's no time frame. We're not saying that, but how is that going to affect the housing market and the different resources? I'll say federal unemployment. We know that the unemployment rate right now has skyrocketed, but at the same time, they're running out of funds for unemployment. So the first thing that's going to go, and I think there's a date of July 31st, is the federal aid that they're giving for unemployment. What kind of position is that going to put people in as far as housing when they're no longer giving them that July 31st grace day because this is going on and you're going to have to start making payments? Where do you think that's going to lead people, and what can they do to combat that?
Well, we've been really fortunate. That's actually a really good question, Felicia. We have been really fortunate in our state. And I'm just going to say, because I kind of do work for HUD, I don't per se work for HUD, but our programs are HUD funded. I am so pleased with what they have done in making sure that once this pandemic kind of comes to a close, we hope soon, that people are still able to be able to stay housed. And so one of the things that HUD has done is they have provided some additional funding, and it's called ESG CV. It's COVID funding, basically, for us to still be able to provide assistance, rental assistance. If people are behind in their rent, let's say they haven't gone back to work yet, some of the persons may not have gone back to work during that time period. So we will still be able to provide assistance. That's a benefit, not only for that household, but of course for the landlords as well, because it's important to us in the work that we do that we're making sure that we're building relationships with housing developers and with landlords and so forth, and ensuring them that we're going to because it's a business for them. So we want to make sure that that while we're asking them to keep these people housed, HUD is saying, hey, we're going to on the back end make sure that you're able to receive those payments for rent as well. So there will be some additional funding that will be available to the state in the coming months.
Okay, so I have another question. Of course, I can go. So we've talked about for different programs just for, I'll say, the regular individual. Now I know you deal a lot with veterans and the Homeless Coalition for Veterans and whatnot. So tell me about some programs for not just your veterans, but also for your active guard or reserve individuals, because oftentimes, people with full-time jobs, they're just barely making ends meet. What are some programs that are out there that can actually assist with the military?
Right. So I actually had the opportunity to serve as the community housing and community resource person for the Alabama Executive Veterans Network, which is a organization that has been established under former Governor Bentley, and then right now it's under Governor Kay Ivey. And so this organization, I will go ahead and plug them, look them up. It's AlaVetNet for those of you that are watching. Is really at the forefront of trying to make sure that persons that are active and veterans receive the same type of housing benefits that others would receive. And so for us and the programs that we provide through HUD and through the state, those programs are still available to veterans or anyone that's active military. So they're afforded the same opportunity as, let's say, a school teacher or, you know, someone in that respect.
Okay. Okay. So you've been in this business for a very long time, and you've grown in it, even starting your own. That a lot of people don't know about. People just know you do, and more do, but they really don't know what you do. So I want you to talk a little bit about that, because, you know, I read your bio and the links and the different organizations. You have your hands in a lot, but you are the person for it, and you have the heart for it. What makes you, what's your driver? What makes and what gives you the passion to want to do this? Because I know your education is in a completely different background.
It is. I have a background actually in communications. You know, I grew up in Chicago, had a dream of making it to Hollywood, okay? And that didn't happen, but God certainly had a different path for me, and I'm glad he did. So good question. I have experience. I worked previously for a lobbying firm, and then I worked for the Alabama legislature under the late Demetrius Newton. He was the first Black Speaker pro tem of the Alabama House of Representatives. So I was his executive assistant for many years. And then I had the opportunity to evolve into the homeless arena. I started working with Arch when they had like $100 in the bank. And when I wrote our first grant, I was able to get us 2.5 million. And that's not at all to brag. That's just to say that my heart and my passion was in the right place. And I saw that there was a need. And I left some great opportunities to take on trying to lead this organization. And so with that, I have since, I am a member of the Federal Home Loan Bank of Atlanta. I am on their Housing Advisory Council. And so they cover several states. And then I am also a trustee for the University of Alabama Center for Real Estate. And so I'm kind of see things from a different perspective. And of course, I have a large relationship with a lot of the housing developers across the state, and making sure that we're able to work with them in setting aside units for those who are homeless or have a documented disability. So that's kind of some of what my background is. My driver is really just, it's very simple, Felicia. I know that there's a need. I know that at any moment, this could be a life that I could live. And it keeps me grounded to know that I have wonderful staff and wonderful agencies that partner with us that are committed to making sure that we're really trying to put some resolve. We may never solve homelessness, but I tell you that right here in the state of Alabama, we're putting forth a great effort to do the very best that we can. So my driver really is just the fact that there's a need out there, and somebody's got to put their boots to the ground and get the work done.
Right. And it brings me back to a conversation we previously had. And I always, pray, Lord, bless me to be a blessing to someone else. And one of your drivers is, that there is a need. One of my drivers and my passion is the fact that I've been through so much, and I've gone through certain things. And if I didn't go through it, I knew someone that went through it, and I didn't want to be a statistic, and I didn't want to go through what I saw family go through, and I wanted more than what I actually saw around me. It's funny how God connects people. We dealt with some of the same things, but from a different aspect. So in saying that, I want to talk about, because even in the grocery giveaway, we both we have seen some things in your line of work, in my line of work, in my career path with military, with law enforcement, and what I do in personally ministry. And I want to talk about the cycles of homelessness, the cycles of that, because I've seen where you have the project mentality. You have individuals that they grew up in the projects, and that's all they know, whatever project it was in, whether it was in a small town project or if it was in a city project. They grew up in the project, and that's all they knew. And as soon as, and I'll talk about females because you see it a lot of times with females, and usually it starts there. And she grows up and she saw her mother doing the best that she could possibly do, and she was raised there. And when she became a teenager, and she may or may not, she gotten pregnant at an early age, and as soon as she could get some form of assistance, maybe she went and got into her own apartment in the projects, and she raised her children to do the same thing, or raised her children the same way that she was raised. And then you have another generation going through the same thing, and then her children grew up, and that's all they knew. They were products of their environment. They didn't know any better, so some of them couldn't do any better. What about the individuals that go through that? And you have some that want to do better. How do we break that cycle?
Well, that's a tough question for me, and I'm gonna tell you why. I am actually a public housing advocate. Okay, I believe in the public housing concept. I really do, because it's needed.
Right.
There are just some people that just cannot afford to pay beyond $10 rent or zero rent.
Right.
And that's because the fact that we just don't have, because of the job market, because of maybe education level. And so I'm an advocate for public housing. One of the things that we're fortunate enough to have here in the state is that we do have a lot of agencies that provide services to those that may live, let's say, in public housing, to kind of teach them life skills, GED classes, some other wraparound things that hopefully will contribute to them moving from public housing, because then they're able to get their GED, they're able to go into some type of job training, et cetera, and maybe move away from the public housing and make that available for somebody else that is in need of that type of housing.
Okay.
So,
and I agree, it is very needed. And I'm glad you touched on the part of teaching life skills and teaching, helping them get their GED and teaching them different things, because I am such an advocate for that. That is one of my passions. Teaching others how to, not doing the work for them, but teaching them, guiding them through the process, guiding them and showing them what it is, being that mentor, being that life coach if they need a life coach, being the guidance counselor if they need a guidance counselor, being that person that will help them fill out the paperwork if they need to fill out the paperwork, and showing them. So I am such an advocate for that, because it starts there. If we can teach them the life skills, if we can teach them, then it can help them get a better job. It can help them break the cycle, the poverty mindset, the homeless cycle, show them that that's not the end. They don't just have to be there, but it's a start. Because I've seen oftentimes, and as we both have, sometimes people get so complacent in their surroundings, they get comfortable, they just don't want to do better. But we want to give them, show them, push them into being a better them. And then it could, in turn, even if it doesn't change them, it can change their children. It can show their children something better. I mean, because we're in 2020, and there are still people that can't read and write.
That's correct.
There are still people that they don't know any better. So we can't act like we've arrived when we really have not. You know, there's so much work to be done in either area. So let you know.
And you're right, Felicia. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
So, and with saying that, so one of the things that has been implemented is it's called Housing First. And it's really an opportunity for us not to worry so much about some of those things that you talked about, some of those limitations, maybe them not having the GED or the job. So HUD is saying to us, you know, let's house them first. Let's not worry about them having substance abuse or mental health issues. Let's try to get them in housing to get them stabilized. And that's really what I advocate for. And then we try to work with them on becoming whole, well, their full well-being, just, you know, step by step, because there's so many factors that go into mention. Is something that may be generational. You saw moms shifting from hotel, you know, to hotel, or, you know, your parents may have lived, as you said, in public housing all your life, and that's all you know, that's your community. And so we have to make sure that we are reshifting our focus, those of us that are on the front line of really trying to eradicate homelessness, making sure that we are focus first on trying to put them in safe, affordable housing, and then work on some of those other things that they have going on that will help them stay stabilized.
Right. And that's first and foremost. So on the previous live, someone made the comment, anxiety can lead to suicide. Mental health and mental wellness can lead to that's a stressor that can lead to the homeless, pandemic, or, you know, can help, because we deal with so many different things that anything can be a trigger, and you can get in a rut and you don't know how to pull yourself out of that. Just not knowing. So one of the reasons that we are on tonight is to talk about, you know, those things, but also to give resources. And I'm really adamant, and I try to hone in on resources. There are resources. And again, one of the reasons that I'm so big on that is because I know what it's like not to have. I know what it's like to need just and didn't have anyone. I know what it's like to be in a state of without, and there are all of these things around you that you just do not know. And one of my prayers has always been, Lord, bless me to be a blessing to someone else, even if it's opening my mouth and telling someone something, praying for someone, helping someone through something, giving someone a resource, a contact. And tonight, you are our resource. You are our contact. So again, tell some of the people that are just joining in or catching in some of the resources that are out there for homeless individuals. People really talk about and reiterate on the eviction process and the how your organization helps those that are going through an eviction or facing an eviction. And I really feel in my spirit right now that that is something that people need to know, because we don't know what people are facing in this time right now, because there are a lot of people out of jobs. And we want to make sure if we have a resource or a connection that can help someone, we want to make sure that they get it.
Absolutely. So let me touch on one thing. And I see Miss April said that there is help out there to recover from homelessness and mental health. And she is absolutely correct. And I, again, have to applaud your efforts, Felicia, for putting this on your platform. I promise you it is well needed. And I know that there is someone out there that is listening that is going to be able to truly benefit from us being able to provide these resources to them. I was sharing with someone recently that in all my years of being the housing guru, that I had never experienced such a time like this where people were suicidal because of the fact that they just couldn't pay, they can't pay their bills, they're facing eviction, they don't know where to turn, or as my pastor, Bishop Yvonne Jones would say, they just simply cannot breathe. That's what they feel like. And so it is our goal to make sure that we put those resources out there. And so I want to tell everyone, if you're listening and you need assistance and you're in any of the 42 counties I cover, or you're not in the 42 counties I cover, I will give you our office telephone number. It's 334-273-0668. And I'm saying this from a place of true sincerity. If you're homeless, or you know someone that is homeless, or you know someone that is at risk of becoming homeless, or that person is you, then you need to make sure that you're reaching out to someone. Don't get to a point where it triggers your mental health, where you become suicidal, because there are resources available. We're grateful that the state have made these resources available. We're grateful that HUD has afforded us the opportunity to bring these resources to the community, and we want people to be able to tap into them. So again, send us a message on Facebook, do whatever you need to do to get a message to us, and just say, I need help. And I promise you, it's because it's who I am, and you know this because you know me personally. If I can help and refer you to the right place, I'm going to make sure that that's done. Because again, our goal is to make sure that we're keeping people off the streets. We're helping them maintain their mental health as much as possible when it comes to housing, and then we're providing them the resources that they need.
Right. Thank you again, because I really want to make sure that individuals get that information to know that there is help. And I made sure I pinned the comment that Ms. Watkins said, there is help out there to recover. I am a big advocate for suicide prevention. I teach on suicide prevention. I teach on suicide prevention. I teach on suicide prevention. That is really a passion of mine. No one should feel alone. No one should feel like they cannot make it. No situation that an individual is going through, whether it be domestic violence, whether it be any form of abuse, physical, emotional, verbal, whatever it may be, homelessness, unemployment, there is no situation that should cause anyone to feel so alone, so isolated that they result into taking their lives. I am such an advocate for prevention, suicide prevention, and all things in that area. And we'll talk more about that on later episodes. But tonight, I really wanted to make sure, going into the July 4th holiday weekend, there are so many, we know what the country stands on. We just celebrated Juneteenth. I'm from Texas, so I know what Juneteenth is all about. When it wasn't big to the country, it was big to us. But with all of this going on, and people are really going through with the pandemic for COVID-19, with the unemployment, with the homeless situation, we want to make sure that we are being a voice, unmuting ourselves, because there are so many things that a lot of us have gone through, that life has muted us, life has quieted us, and someone needs what we have. So stepping outside of ourselves and giving what we can to others is really what this is all about. So again, I want to thank you for coming on. We're going to make sure that the resources that you put out there, we were going to link them in the comments. So please, if you know someone that needs some help, share the broadcast, share the live, tag them in it. Make sure they get, just tag them in it by all means, just to make sure they get the resources that they need. Put them in your phone. Just make a note of them yourself. You never know who you're going to run across at any particular time. No one is exempt. No one is exempt. I know I used to hear people say you're just one paycheck away from being on the street. You do never know who that applies to. So we want to use what we have to help others. And before we recap and we wrap it up, I want to give the floor to you. Is there anything that you really want to express, you want to say? The floor is yours.
Well, Felicia, I just want to thank you again for giving me the opportunity to be on. I encourage those who got on late to go back and listen to the top of the broadcast, because there was some very good information that I was able to share about some programs that are available that I feel like people need to tap into. And I just want to kind of end with this. Homelessness is one of those issues. It sees no color. It's not a black-white issue. It's not a male-female issue. It's an issue. And it's an issue that we have got to be aware of as a country, that we have got to make sure we are addressing, that we have our eyes open, that we are referring people to the place they need to be if they truly need assistance. If they're homeless and experiencing because of domestic violence, there is help. If you are facing homelessness because you are behind in your rent, there is help. If you are homeless and disabled, there are programs that can help you. That is what we are here for. And I encourage you just to tap into those resources. Like I said, you can go to our Facebook page and get some more information, or like Miss Felicia says, she's going to be dropping that information somewhere on her broadcast and some links. And so please, I encourage you to use them and just be a blessing to somebody else. Share the information with them. And if you need me, I'm the housing guru, and I would be happy to help you in any way that I can. So thank you all again for joining us tonight. Thank you, Felicia.
Thank you again for coming. So as we recap on tonight's broadcast, I want to thank everyone for tuning in. I want to thank you for jumping back in, because we did have a previous live and we were having technical difficulties with sound and everything, but I think that was really the enemy just did not want us to get this out there, because we had this going. But I want to thank you all for tuning in. If you would, please share the broadcast. We're not information hoarders. This could really help someone. This could be a life changer for someone, and that's what we are here for. Again, this is my special guest tonight, my Sarah Felicia Jackson, the housing guru. She really is all things housing. I want to thank you all for tuning in to another episode of Unmuted, number 3. Please be safe this holiday weekend. Some of us have 3-day weekends. The 4th of July, be safe out there, be mindful out there, wear your mask, protect yourself. Help someone, be a blessing to someone else. Thank you all again for tuning in, for listening. I hope you all got a tidbit of information that you can take back and share. Talk about it. Talk about it. Please leave in the comments if there is a topic that you would like us to discuss, to put in the rotation. I will, by all means, I will take it into consideration. There will do some research on it. If I don't know, I can bring in the right person to talk about it as a guest. If you would like to see Miss Jackson come back in on another episode with something else that she does, please send us a put it in the comments. I will be linking the between the next day or so. I'll be putting all the resources into the comment box. I will also be putting in emails and whatnot. I want to, because I am a supporter. I am a huge supporter of people in their businesses. Big shout out to Felicia and all that you are doing that you don't talk about that you are doing. And I can't tell if you all see my lip gloss because my lips are popping. But this lip gloss that I am wearing tonight is Amazing Berries. And it is by a young lady. Her name is Laquita. The line is called Follow Your Gloss. She has several different glosses and balms, and I am a lip balm fanatic. I like moisturized lips. But I will be linking her contact information in the comments also because I'm a big supporter, and we want to help Black businesses. Tan Robertson, my first episode, I did wear a shirt that said, if my mouth doesn't say it, my eyes definitely will. If you know me, you know that was true. But shout out to Tan for the shirt. Thank you. I want to make sure that I support wherever I can. So again, Laquita, I will drop her information in for the lip gloss. The lip gloss that I'm wearing tonight is Amazing Berries, and it feels good. I feel like I look good. But anywho, thank you all for tuning in to another episode of Unmuted, episode 3. Tonight's topic was homelessness. Thank you for rocking with us, for coming back in. This was the second live for tonight. Thank you. We will see you all next Thursday, the same time, same station. You all have a blessed, safe, and happy night. Good night.
Good night, everybody.